Hello, I wanted to give a brief overview of the doctoral preparation track and invite you to reach out and give us your information if you have any interest in kind of following along as there are opportunities to get involved. Um, so the purpose of this program is just to make it really transparent how to take advantage of the really strong research training that's available within our department. So because we have 3 PhD programs and 4 master's programs, all license eligible, that really makes us a unique place to train. You're going to come into a setting where there's just it's almost like Grand Central Station. So you'll kind of see in my next slide that that's the metaphor that I want to use for what it's like to train in our department. But the problem that we noticed probably about 10 years ago was that if we don't give people some guidance as they kind of come into this system, they may not necessarily know what to do. And so what we saw happening was people would get about a year into their program and students would be getting feedback like, hey, you should think about getting your doctorate. Professors are giving them positive feedback and they're showing signs of being really interested in the content area and starting to realize some of the different things that you can do in this profession, not just clinical practice, but also research and other types of leadership opportunities. And so there's a type of expertise development that's available for people who get their PhD, and people start to get invited into that and are interested in it. But after the fall of your second year, if you were going to apply to a program, that would happen almost immediately. So it's kind of around December when all the applications are due. And so people are kind of asking for research experience or other things with only like 2 months left. And so there was a little bit of a timing problem. So that was kind of the reason why we decided to give a little bit more structure and let people know, hey, if you have any interest in this, you should engage some of these structures. So that was kind of the problem. I want to give you a few introductions. So this structure is kind of something maintained by the Happy Lab. So Happy Lab is Humility and Positive Psychology Interventions. We do work in the area of positive psychology and wellness. So Paul Wu runs this program right now, and he is currently a second-year doctoral student in counseling psychology. He'll be a rising third year. Sally Lee is our lab manager, and she'll be a rising fourth year. And you can kind of look at some of her interest. And then Rory McDermott is a first-year counseling psych student. And so this is the group that right now primarily supports the doctoral preparation track. I thought I'd give you just a few hopeful stories just to kind of give you a sense of how this might work for you. And at some point we might see if we can get interviews with these folks and we can do some kind of Q&A, and we might record it and put it in our YouTube channel. So Sebastian Love, I mentioned kind of a story of stepping stones. Short version is he wanted to do a PhD in neuroclinical, and so it turns out he actually needed to get some additional experience with a lab, but the doctoral preparation track was able to help him get a fellowship at Yale University that paid, I think it was like $40,000 a year, and it was almost like a farm system for their program. And then he ended up taking a position at UC Berkeley. So that's a pretty amazing story. So Wendy is the next person I wanted to kind of spotlight. She's almost done with the counseling psych program in our department. What she did was she aligned her work in the doctoral preparation track so that it gave her a huge head start on her doctoral degree. So she had a pre-dissertation project that the data was already collected, and And so she was able to finish her pre-dissertation within her first semester at Georgia State, which gave her a great head start. She's about to go on internship at Vanderbilt University. Um, I could give you a few other people who got involved in the program and ended up realizing, you know what I really want to do doesn't require me to get a PhD. For us, that's equally a success story. So, part of what we want to do is help you consider all your options. And if you decide that getting a doctorate isn't really necessary, that's a great outcome too. So we might try to get a few of our folks who kind of ended up getting that clarity. There's also just questions about what kind of program would you want to go to. I kind of mentioned that. So we've had students go into counselor education and practice programs, counseling psychology. We've had people go into clinical psychology. There are a lot of options, and it can be a little bit confusing because there are a lot of similarities. And I kind of mentioned this to the master students in the DPT. It's kind of like high school football. If you talk to people, there's a little bit of inherent bias in everyone's perspective because once you develop a professional identity and you have a commitment to an area, then you kind of, you're proud of your team and the training that you got. And so part of what we want to do in our space is to give you a chance to connect with different people and kind of make sense of what you're hearing, and also, kind of try to make sense of the potential bias within that. So in terms of a timeline, over the summer, your job is to settle and just kind of explore and make connections. We kind of leave it open if you wanted to kind of join. We'll have a weekly lab meeting. It'll probably be virtual over the summer. If you wanted to join and connect and hear about this, you could just email me or Sally, and we would kind of loop you into that meeting. In the fall, same thing. So if you kind of know that you want to join the doctoral preparation track, there's really no reason you couldn't start to join a research team and start to secure mentoring. If you reached out to us right away, we could even let you enroll in the course and start getting course credit for the work that you're doing. It's kind of like a directed reading, so we would just kind of loop you into that structure. But the formal application is due in November, and then the goal in the spring is to help you start to kind of plan how to align the work that you do while you're in the master's program and start to align that with your long-term goals and what you might do in your doctoral program. So we'll help you think about a systematic literature review and potentially how to get started on that. We'll help you, kind of work with the research team that you're working with and kind of think about joining other projects that other people are taking the lead on, but also getting started with designing your own research project so we can give you support around that. Over the summer, there's a rest, so your research team may have some sort of meeting structure, and you obviously can stay involved in that. But in terms of the DPT, that's just kind of a rest period. And then in the fall, you'll be on practicum internship, and so everyone's schedules get kind of different. But what we end up doing, kind of like a directed reading, is we'll set up a structure where we'll have regular office hours, and we're available to support you as you're kind of getting your application ready. So we can kind of help you talk through all of the aspects of that process, give you feedback on cover letters, all that kind of stuff. So let me say a few things about the application process. So it's a very simple form little bit of information, and then we have you turn in a zip file with your CV, cover letter. So you've kind of done stuff like that just to get into the program, the master's program that you're in. For a letter of support, that's not anything that needs to, a research mentor would need to spend a ton of time on. We actually just created a form. I took a screenshot of it. What it's doing is it's forcing a conversation about them supporting you in some of the basic goals that we have for you in this program. So you obviously could do more than we ask for, but what we tried to do was give you some kind of minimal goals that would help you align with what's going to help you in the interview process. And really what we're thinking towards is we're imagining in a day, we think you already have what it takes to kind of get an offer of an interview. Our programs are very competitive, but we're thinking about what are the kinds of things that are going to develop your maturity as a doctoral candidate, as someone who's applying to a program, and so that when you have 30 minutes to an hour of an in-person interview and people are asking you, hey, what are you thinking about doing long term? Why did you choose our program? What are the kinds of projects that we might do together? How do you see your research fitting in with your clinical interest? That you would be prepared to come across as a highly trustworthy and mature applicant. So that's what we're kind of asking a research faculty member to kind of commit to. And so we want them to kind of pair you with at least one doc student and commit to helping you get on at least one paper or presentation at a national conference. And we want them to help you start to think about what you might do in your research program. It's not crucial how far you get in that. So some people, are able to plan a study or find a data set and get pretty far along. Other people, they're going a little bit slower, and that's okay. We don't care as much about how far you get, but that you have the support and structure you need with that process. The second thing we do is we have you pick what you might do for a systematic literature review. The main point of this, there's two main points. One is just to see what it's like to try to find a topic, and one where there's enough of a body of literature that you could do a review. And so, if you were a first-year doctoral student, this might take a semester for you to kind of narrow in on what you really want to invest your time and energy on. So we want you to let you have a sense of what that would feel like. And then the second part is we want you to kind of get a sense of how to narrow the scope. So we don't want you to do a review that's like, 800 studies. Can you find a body of literature that you can review that would be somewhere in the range of 15 to 25 articles? Can you pull those PDFs and then put them into a table where you summarize the key information? So like author, year, what measures were used in the study, or if it's qualitative studies, what kind of design was used and what were the key themes. And then a column for the key findings. The second purpose of this is it's a little bit of a commitment test. So, we have 4 different master's programs. We would want to support as many people as are highly committed to kind of engaging these structures. But we don't want a lot of people who haven't kind of given it some serious thought and have kind of started to put some skin in the game. So this task, because it would take, probably at least 2 to 3 hours to complete, it's a little bit of a commitment test of, is this something that you really want to do? It's also a chance for us to just start to support you. So we're actually happy to kind of set up office hours and to answer questions and just walk you through this process. So it's almost like this is one of the first things that you can do to really, kind of where the rubber meets the road, and start to get a sense of, oh, okay, would I want to consider doing a PhD, what would I potentially want to do that on? And so we include that in the application process. Lastly, I've got an FAQ slide. There's a document that we created at one point that kind of has questions that students might have, also questions that faculty advisors might have. We'll have a few chances if you wanted to kind of come to an information session where you could ask these or other questions and kind of get contextualized information. But anyway, that's an overview. So if this sounds of interest, please, fill out the form, give us your information, and we'll keep you in the loop.